Hello everyone and good evening. Welcome to Senior Living Today, a brand new show that is coming to you from WHIG, sponsored by Statewide Insurers. Tonight we want to first, before we get into it, go over our sponsors, and co-host Cheryl Braswell with me on my left is going to tell you who they are. Cheryl?
Thank you, Joey. Good evening, folks. The sponsors we have this evening, we are very, very happy we have these folks with us. Wires Inc. and Brian West. They're located out on 4574 Sunset Avenue here in Rocky Mount. Their phone number is 972-9473. And I have known Brian a long time, and I give you this assessment of the situation. I don't care if your pickup truck costs $82,000 or $820. You need a good bed liner in it, and Brian can take care of that for you. Our other sponsor, Mr. Brett Hill, and he has a new company, so let me make sure I get this one right. Brett Hill is now First Class Realty Triangle East.
Outstanding.
And he is located in the Mills complex right now. It's 1151 is his Falls Road is his address. Real estate market is fabulous right now, and Brett, I've known him also for, 3-4 years. He is top notch in this area and helping you as far if you need to relocate to Raleigh or people in Raleigh relocating here. Great job.
You know, Senior Living Today, generous, just shows around our community, whether it be Nash, Edgecombe, Wilson, but WHIG is in 17 counties. Yep. And what we'd like to do before we start our interview tonight and have a wonderful guest to bring some vital information to our seniors and our viewing. First, we want to invite our viewing audience, especially our seniors. Call WHIG. There has to be a topic that you want us to cover. It could be food, transportation, anything that interests, even down to wills, anything of interest to our seniors. That's what this program is all about, Senior Living Today. And Cheryl, let's get started. Would you be kind enough to introduce our guest this evening? Absolutely.
This evening, we are very fortunate to have with us Caroline Crawford. She is a local attorney representing the Pierce Law Group, based out of Raleigh, where their main office is. And this evening, what we're going to be talking about are some estate planning issues, wills, trust, probate, things that we're all eventually going to have to deal with because we're not going to get past this one.
This is true.
Yeah, we're all going to have to face this one. And this is something that's even to me is very near and dear to my heart because I've been involved in an estate situation that's gone on for several years, and it didn't have to be that way, but it's hopefully you will find things tonight that will help you in that respect. So Caroline, I wrote down a few things here that I think are relevant, and as we're going through this, please just add in anything else you think we need to talk about. But first of all, the simplest question, why do I need a will or an estate plan?
I think everyone who's over 18 needs a will or an estate plan. To have a plan in place is just an acknowledgement that I care about the people around me, and if something happens to me, I want to do everything I can to take care of them. And if you're in a family relationship, we all have a mother, a father, a sister, a brother. And if something happens to them, encouraging our family members to do the same thing and have an estate plan means that when something eventually happens, we don't want it to happen, we don't want to think about those bad things happening, but thinking about those things that will happen in the future, everyone we know is going to die and pay taxes. And it's a tough topic to say, hey, what's going to happen when I die? But if you don't talk about it in advance, something will happen. And you alluded to that, and you said that things go into this horrible abyss of probate that can go on and on and on. And probate is just the process of dealing with all of your belongings after someone is gone. And as the one that's surviving a departed family member, someone you love, you want that process to be as easy as possible. You don't want to be burdened with it. You want it to go ahead and move forward. You don't want to be drugged down with it and have it last years and years and years. And having a plan in place helps your family members, helps the people that are left behind, and if you're the person left behind, it helps you move through all of those details, and that's what we do at Pierce Law Group. Our primary purpose is to make the probate process easier for you. It's important for our families, the people that we help, to be able to help them in that way.
And I'll tell you something that I have noticed in the last few months in the situation that I'm aware of. Because of the COVID restrictions, courthouses are not staffed like they were staffed. They're a little bit more difficult to get into, and I have seen this process being slowed down just because of that. So to me, it's really important to have a group that knows what needs to be done and can take care of it.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we do for families and for people who are trying to navigate the process. When you've lost a loved one, you don't want to be dealing with having to go to the courthouse and deal with all of the isolation procedures that they're going through. You want to be able to just say, here is what we have, here is the mess of paperwork, help us and help us navigate through this. And at Pierce Law Group, we take that step away from people so they can just say, here's what we have, tell me where we need to go next and what's the right thing to do. For people who have a will in place, it goes one. Who don't have a will in place, it goes another path. But we're here to help people either in the situation where they already have a will with their family member, or if someone dies without a will. We can help you through both ways. And if you're the person who's here now, we can help you before you get to that position. So
that would be a great, just touch on that. What happens if you die without a will?
If you die without a will, there are a couple of things that happen with your belongings. First of all, with the people who love you, they are going to be sad, they are going to be grieving, they are going to be distressed, and they're not going to know where to turn. So we strongly encourage people to plan in advance so that your family members aren't in despair over not just the loss of you and your presence and your love, but what to do with all of the belongings. If you die without a will, either things pass to the next person that inherits them by the nature of the instrument it is. Like you guys work with insurance. And insurance and estate and insurance and some accounts and investments are set up so that they automatically, by the nature of what you do, pass to the next person. That happens seamlessly. But a lot of things people have doesn't pass that way. And it's a challenge to get all of the assets together, to find what all the bills are and pay those bills, because if your loved one has passed away, the last thing you want to worry about is the phone ringing off the hook with bill collectors. That is no fun. And if you give us a call and we help you through that, you can just give them our number and they can call us. And we help things to be more harmonious and peaceful in your family so that your family can focus on what's really important, which is the people in your life.
Absolutely.
And not the burden of trying to juggle the bills and the estate. And to answer your part of your question before, there are state laws that tell us exactly how to do that and divide things out that are in an equal way. When someone didn't have a will, we follow those state laws. We follow the rules, or we follow the instruments, like the insurance policies that you guys establish for people. So those give us guidance as to how how the estate should be handled.
Okay. And we'll probably get into this a little bit more later on, but just the basic difference between a will and a trust.
A will and a
question.
trust,
Good question.
those are two estate planning processes. They're both documents. They end up being pieces of paper that outline what it is that you want to have done. And they serve different purposes for different people. And a will is, we hear about a last will and testament, and you see sometimes in movies where they read through somebody's will and everybody finds out what do they get from the family, and people are always interested in what's in it for me. So a will outlines what's in it for me and how these belongings pass along. A trust instead is something that you set up while you're still alive. There are a lot of different varieties and types of trust, and you can take your assets, your house, your money, your investments, you could put them into a trust, and at that point the trust administers where your belongings go, and when you die, the trust is still there. So the trust is still following the instructions that you set up for it. For some people, putting their assets and their estate into a trust can serve them better than a will by itself. Sometimes people will have a will and a trust, and those work together.
Okay.
But either way, it's a way to plan for the future and how you want to take care of your family after you're gone.
Cheryl, Caroline, as you're saying, planning for the future, senior living today. We're getting ready to go to a commercial break, but I hope you've learned just a little bit of where we are right now. There's so much that's involved. And if you don't pick that phone up and call Caroline and the law firm, that's how you find out your answers. We'll be right back with more. Stay tuned. Senior Living Today. Welcome back to Senior Living Today. So much is involved in senior living and going through as the aging process goes. And we're going to touch on that just a little bit more. Caroline's doing a heck of a job. Cheryl's doing a heck of a job. But Cheryl, I want to know who's sponsoring our show tonight. Gracious.
Yeah. And we could not be here if we did not have sponsors. And again, Brett Hill, First Class Real Estate, Triangle East. Personal note, Brett and his wife have a fairly new child. They need the money. If you've been-
Outstanding. Congratulations.
Let him handle
Take a
your real
note.
estate for you.
Here.
And Brian West out at Wires Inc., also great people there. They've done things for me and my automobiles, myself and my wife. Great jobs, great customer service, good people to work with.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And you know, ladies and gentlemen, sitting out there on your couch, we can't do it without sponsors. But before we end up, Cheryl, is there a couple more questions for Caroline and the law firm that we might be able to convey some information to our
Yeah.
seniors?
The documents that I hear about most of all and see most of all are powers of attorney and healthcare powers of attorney.
Right. Powers of attorney are a great legal document that people set up that helps their family members or the person that they've designated to help them navigate through challenges while they're still alive. A healthcare power of attorney and a general power of attorney, they are completely separate documents. North Carolina has chosen to have healthcare power of attorney and financial power of attorney separate.
Yeah.
Because in your own family, you may have one person who understands healthcare and is, of like mind with you in the way that you want to be taken care of when you're sick, and that may not be the same person that's the best with money. So in North Carolina, we have 2 separate documents that are required to manage all the aspects of your life in that way. And you can designate one person for one role and a different person for the other role, or if you want, you can choose the same person to do both roles, but it does take both documents. And that power of attorney lets the person you pick, your representative in whichever case, lets them step into your shoes and make decisions for you, as if you were making those decisions. That happens all the way through up until the point of death, and at that point, what we need is a will. And a will tells the rest of the world what you would want to be done after you've died. And it's important, if you're going to have an estate plan, to address taking care of things now and taking care of things later. And at Pierce Law Group, we have experts who focus on this particular area of law. There's some nuances that we can help you navigate through. We hear about your particular family and what you need and help you decide and what it is that you're trying to accomplish for your family. And
Ask you a question, Caroline.
absolutely.
With the healthcare power of attorney, is that a document that you need to update periodically, or how I've got a question in my mind, but here, you go ahead and...
Yes, actually all of the estate planning documents are something that you want to revisit and review every 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
Or if you have some major change in your family. If you find out that we didn't have small children before, or now we do. We didn't have grandchildren before, and now we have grandchildren we want to plan
Correct.
for. We want to include them and have some special thing done for them in the future. This is a great way to plan for that. If your life has changed and you went from being well and healthy and fit to having some health challenges, say you just got diagnosed with high blood pressure or COVID or something that made you step back and say, you know what, I may not live forever. I may be the one person who doesn't live forever. We all wish that was us. We know it's not true. And that is the perfect time to reach out to an attorney. You can certainly you can give me a call at Pierce Law Group, or anyone that you have in your life that you have worked with before. I would just encourage people to speak to someone, some trusted attorney that you have, or our group. It doesn't, I have many great colleagues in this field who can give great advice as well. And just the idea of having a plan in place to be proactive, to know what it is that my family needs. Yes, review that.
Right.
Caroline, question. Is there a phone number? Because I've heard you say that about the Pierce Group, yourself, and our seniors.
Yes.
Is there a number that they can reach you? And we have a couple of questions left, not to go away, but I think that's a time that, how do they get in touch with you? Because we've heard a lot of great information here tonight and things I've learned just listening, but how do they get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me at piercelaw.com, and our phone number is 919-584-5556. That's 919-584-5556. We have offices in Raleigh and Durham, and I am local in eastern North Carolina in the Nash County and Edgecombe County area, but we serve people all across the state. Probate is a type of law that we can participate with people no matter where they live in North Carolina, and we can help people. If you had a loved one pass away here and you happen to live in Virginia or South Carolina, we can help you. It's not really limited geographically the way that some things are. So we really enjoy being able to help people in that way.
Great information.
There's a lot of moving parts
Yes.
in this process, no
sure.
question about it. The $64 million question, if you had to pick one point.
If I had to pick one point, it would be to talk to your family about the plan that you have, and if you don't have a plan, make one. Make one now. because we never know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know what's going to happen to the people in my family, my parents, my husband, our kids. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. And to have a plan in place is so precious because it brings peace of mind to you, it brings peace and harmony in your family, and it can take away that opportunity for conflict between your children. And you may think, oh, my kids will always get along. Well, that is not always the case. And as you know, things can just drag out.
And the thing that I realized, let people know where these documents are.
Right.
If you're going to name one of your children or somebody as an executor, please make sure they know where those documents are, because the one thing I do not like to hear, well, I got to go back to Mama's house this weekend and dig through the closets and see if I can find so-and-so.
That's right.
And gosh, that happens way too much.
That seems like a moot point that people wouldn't even think about, Caroline. But Cheryl, that sounds like something very important, not being able to get their hands on the document.
Yes.
And I cannot imagine the stress level for that individual who's tasked with that.
And as a person comes to us at Pierce Law Group and asks me or one of my partners, how do we set up a plan for our family, that is a key point where we not only set up the documents for you, we talk to you about where are you going to keep these things. Which members of your family have you talked to about this, so that people know what you have in place and where to find it. And we will help you put things together and collect not just documents about your belongings, but put together a collection of keepsakes and ideas and thoughts that you want to be remembered as. We all want to be remembered fondly, and we want to think back on our family and remember, oh, these were the good things. We remember these great times and how wonderful it is when someone has left behind and written out a journal and said, I remember this Christmas, and this is what happened, and it snowed, and we did this together. And to be able to remember those things, those are precious, precious moments.
So, I can tell you're passionate about this. So why did Caroline get into this business?
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I got into being an attorney and helping people with end-of-life, end-of-life conversations and planning for the future, because my life before being an attorney, I have been a nurse for 25 years, and I have helped people through this stage of life, and so many times been on the side helping people grieve and helping people mourn, and that watching people feel so helpless and wanting to be able to give them the power to take that back and to empower their families and bring peace back into a situation where they were afraid, didn't know what to do. And by helping people plan for their estates, by helping them decide whether a will is right for them or a trust, I am able to help people have peace in an area that normally just brings sadness. And that's very rewarding.
That's extremely rewarding. Cheryl, as we close tonight, Caroline, I know we have Wires Inc. Who is our other gentleman?
Mr. Brett Hill, First Class Real Estate, Triangle East. Got it all right that time.
Yes, you did.
Great people with Wires Inc., also with First Class Realty. They're our sponsors. Please take advantage and patronize these folks. And they're good people. Do great
Folks,
work.
we want to thank you. We want to thank our whole guest as we're sitting here. She's given us so much information. Caroline, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come and talk to you
It
about
was
this.
rewarding,
This is a
knowledgeable.
special topic for me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And we thank the law firm to allow you to come with us.
Yes.
Next week, actually, it's in 2 weeks, we're going to have home health. So you notice tonight we covered trust, wills, planning, and so forth, as Miss Caroline graciously just passed it on. Great question, Cheryl. Last thing we'll close. Don't forget to call in to the TV station. We want to hear Senior Living Today, what you're interested in. Help us with this show. Help your community. Maybe it's food, maybe it's transportation, maybe it's your pharmaceutical or drug plan. Anything revolving around our seniors. Remember, next time, home health. We look forward to seeing you then. Have a blessed evening. Thanks for tuning in to Senior Living Today.